Every ballroom dance teacher has kind of pet peeves about some types of students that just makes the lesson unpleasant to teach. So here are my top pet peeves from my students. Okay, number one, drives me batty when I have a couple that argues with each other. And I'm not talking about, like who took out the garbage. I'm talking about angrily blaming each other when the dancing does not feel good. Here's why. We as a ballroom dance professional are not a therapist, okay? I want to not only teach my student and have them leave distinctly looking like a better dancer than when they came in the door, but I want them to have a joyful experience, because none of us would have turned pro and stuck at it this long if we didn't have joy in ballroom dance, and we want to impart that onto our students. And if they are at each other's throats, A, I feel helpless. I'm not a therapist. B, I feel like a horrible teacher because I'm not able to convey the information to you in a way that is pleasing or executable. Drives me nuts. Now, and guys, for the record, because I know some of my students watch these videos, they're the whole reason I started this channel. It's none of my current students. My current students are amazing, but it took me a while to get to that point in my career where, you can cherry pick your clients. When you start out as a ballroom dancer, you just got to teach who walks in the door and pray that they're nice people. Okay, number two, pet peeve. Again, I'm not talking about any of my current students, but I have taught people who are, I will say, are perpetually dissatisfied with their dancing, okay? Whether that be at the lesson, in competition, they seem perpetually frustrated with their dancing, with their lack of progress. So they don't see the progress I see. Because I got news for you guys. If I ever, even when I was starting out in my career and I was desperate to build clientele, occasionally I'd run into a student where it just wasn't a good match. They liked lessons with me even, but I was not seeing the amount of progress I felt they were capable of. So obviously, especially early on in my career, I wasn't quite as diverse in how I could convey information. Someone else is going to do this better, and I want them to become the best dancers they can be, right? And so if someone comes in and they legitimately are not progressing, I'm not going to teach them. And I think most pros probably feel this way. Hey, for our pro friends on our channel, shoot us share in the comments what you think. But I think most of our pro friends, that I know, are not just in it for a paycheck. They actually want good students and students that grow. So I feel like I'm doing a bad job. Now, I can tell I'm doing a good job, or I wouldn't be teaching you. I would have fired you as a student. I can see your progress. What I'm doing a bad job of is conveying your progress to you. It's just stressful for me. So, pet peeve. I ran into this a lot more as a studio owner than I do ever have as a ballroom dance teacher, where people were just perpetually dissatisfied. I ran $5 weekly dances at a huge loss just to build the community, the dance community. I felt like that ultimately builds more lessons for people when people have an opportunity to dance with each other, do on the floor with friends what they do in their classes, make friends, etc. Well, I inevitably had people coming out of my office, why aren't you serving free alcohol? Why? Because it's not a bar. I have no liquor license. If you drink, you don't dance as well. Let me write a book for you. There are people who are just going to complain about everything. And you know what, guys? I fired them from the studio too. And every single time, guys, they would come back to me. Oh, no. This is the best place to dance. I love my teacher. Blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? You just complained about the last 5 teachers that I referred you to. So we're done. Please go find another business and complain to them. Now, of course, I'm much nicer in my presentation, but honestly, that's what I'm thinking in my head. You know what? If I can't make you happy, find someone who will. That's what I want for you. Not that I'm being a jerk, but it is going to stress your pro if you are just constantly, in tears after every competition. If you're complaining bitterly after every lesson that I don't get it, I'm not getting any better. Well, we want you to get better. And not only that, just as important, we want you to recognize you're getting better, okay? Okay, another complaint, extremely high maintenance students. Again, I am not talking about any of my current students. But when I taught kids, this was a little bit more of a ugly head that reared itself a lot. So, where parents would call me and want me to, say, coach their relationship with the other parents of their kid's partner. Like, again, I'm not a therapist. And you're not paying me for all this time you're spending on the phone asking me about all sorts of stuff that, I can only do so many hours of emails a day, okay? I am only going to accept so many hours of phone calls a week with, well, she gained 5 pounds. This family has taken him out of class next week for a softball tournament. Just complain. And then making it my problem. Certainly I will cultivate partnerships. And certainly I will give all my students, I'll call it, coaching, not just dance instruction, where, I ask them their goals, and, if it's just social goals, hey, easy peasy. But, someone that has competitive goals, or certainly someone with, long-term professional goals, whether that be, I want to compete or I want to teach, whatever, I will advise them, okay, well, this is what comp to do, whatever. But after I advise someone, and then they don't take my advice, and then they come back to me and re-want the same advice, like, at that point, you are a high-maintenance student. So, just a pet peeve. Okay, number 4. This applies to competitive students only. And this has happened to me a few times, but I have had competitive students with very lofty goals, which is actually, if they have a goal and I'm like, they're not going to achieve that, I'm not going to lie to anyone, guys. I will tell them straight up, I don't see that happening. For whatever reason, they lack talent, they're, too old, whatever. I'm going to tell you the truth. But if someone says, for example, okay, well, I want to win, silver syllabus at nationals. Great. If I give coaching advice, that's like, okay, well, since you have a very finite, explicit goal, I'll give them a finite, explicit path to achieve said goal. You need to practice this much a week. You need to take this many privates a week, whatever. You need to see this visiting coach, whatever. Maybe you need to do certain comps or see a certain judge for political purposes before this comp. And if the students blow off my advice when they've set a very explicit goal, and then they're disappointed in their results, this is a pet peeve. Like, don't bother asking my advice if you're always not going to take it. Just stresses mama out. You know what? Just like you don't want to leave your lesson stressed out, you know what? I don't want to leave your lesson stressed out either. I just want to feel joy. I want to see your success. I want you to see your success. And again, what I just shared doesn't only applies to students who come in with a very set goal. Most students come in, with, well, I want to be the best dancer I can be. And that is definitely more of an amorphous, that is a flexible path, But if someone says, I want to achieve this by this date, you know what? I'm going to tell you what you got to do to get that business done. So listen to your pro. If they give you, if they're always just pushing you to take a ton of lessons, this is a warning sign. But if you have given them a certain goal, for example, I want to, do a great show next month at this showcase or something, at that point, I would listen to your pro if they're encouraging you to do something that maybe is outside of your, usual comfort zone. Okay, final pet peeve for Sunny. I dislike when students show up to lessons, I'll call it perpetually cranky. And I know it has nothing to do with the lesson, but people are like, well, I'm just not a morning person. You know what? How would you feel if I showed up to your, now, Quinn, I am a morning person, but, if I show up to your lesson, just not a morning person. Let's cha-cha. You're probably not really going to want to be there. Well, guess what? I'm the same way. I want to show up to work just like you want to show up to work because we're at that lesson to work together. We are a team. And I want my teammate to, again, feel that joy with me. And so, again, I'll come into the lesson and I see someone like every single day, and none of my current students guys just show up with like a big old scowl, and I'm trying to be nice and represent. Is everything okay? Yes. I'm just not a morning person. And that's the common one I hear because, for many, ever since I started a family, I teach almost all my lessons in the mornings. And you know what, guys? Your dance teacher's a human being too, okay? We love seeing you smile. We're not just there to teach you to dance. We want to share this joy with you that we feel when we dance, okay? And it's real hard when you show up with a big old scowl on your face every day. So, anyway, and honestly, as a human being too, guys, as your pro, I'm thinking, did they not like me? Did I say something offensive? Like I will put it on myself that I have done something wrong to make your morning suck. So those are my personal pet peeves. And again, from my students watching today, I'm not talking about you. Don't worry. So I hope you found that to be interesting. And hey, we have a lot of ballroom dance friends here from around the world. I'm interested to hear what your pet peeves are about your teachers or your students, because we have many pro friends here too. And if you don't feel comfortable sharing that, with your name in the comments, hey, shoot me a email or on my note on my Facebook page. And I'd love to share that here anonymously because, again, we are a worldwide community of ballroom dancers. And I love sharing my stories from my 40 years in this industry. But what we all have, the common dreams, the goals, the challenges. And I think it just helps to kind of share that with each other. So anyway, guys, I look forward to seeing you first thing tomorrow morning with some more ballroom dance stories. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Happy dancing. See you in the morning. Bye.